Alright, in this video we're going to talk about colons. Colons don't happen that much on the ACT, but they do happen enough so that we care about them. And you should know this anyway. This is a life skill, just like a lot of ACT punctuation skills. You kind of want to know this for life. Two things a colon does. The colon is this little guy. It's either going to introduce a list. You know, you could say something like, I have many things in my pocket, colon, pen, pencil, and some keys. So notice that the colon is starting off a list of things. Now you look at the other example of a colon, which is to start to signify when an explanation is coming. So I could say like, I was stuck, colon, the quicksand was pulling me down. Okay, so in this example, the part after the colon, and this is pretty much always true for colons, the part after the colon is explaining the part before the colon. So the quicksand was pulling me down is a pretty good explanation for why I was stuck. So colons do, you can even think of the first example, the second part after the colon is kind of explaining the first part. In other words, knowing that the guy has I have a pen, a pencil, and some keys is kind of explaining the many things in the pocket. So two ways to use a colon. Now there's something I want you to remember about colons too. We have to have the part before the colon stand alone as a complete sentence, no matter what. So notice in both of these examples, the part I underlined is a complete sentence that kind of can stand alone, right? Now, in the first example, this part after the colon, you know, a pen, a pencil, and some keys, that's not a complete sentence, but it doesn't have to be. In the second example, the second part of the sentence, the quicksand was pulling me down, that is a complete sentence. It doesn't have to be. So the part after the colon can be what we call a dependent clause or something that cannot stand alone. The part before the colon, though, must be an independent clause. In other words, it has to be able to stand on its own. So colon can separate two complete sentences. And that's another little tidbit that you should know about colons. So two ways to use them: to introduce a list or to introduce an explanation.